This is Trigonometry video lecture for section 5.1 on proving identities. Now, the idea behind proving identities is that you're given a true statement, that's what an identity is, that holds for all values of x that are within the domain of the equation. And it's your job to prove that it's true. It's your job to show how one side ends up as the other side. Do this very carefully. Typically, when you're strategizing how to start, pick the messier side of the identity to start with, and then apply whatever trig identities are necessary so that you can end up at the other side. Once in a while, you'll have to take both sides and work them to a certain point, but most of the time, you just start on one side, make it look like the other. Don't do anything weird where you involve both sides of the equation at the same time. So no cross multiplying or nonsense like that, okay? To get started, we're going to do just some basic identities, proving them, and we're going to need to make use of the reciprocal identities and our Pythagorean identities. So just to remind you, the reciprocal identities that we have are cosecant of x, that's equal to 1 over sine x. This should be super familiar by now. Secant of x is equal to 1 over cosine of x. And then cotangent of x is equal to 1 over tangent of x. Alternatively, you could think of that as cosine of x over sine of x as well. All right, so here we go. We're going to start proving the identities. So make sure you keep in mind the reciprocal identities. We also have Pythagorean identities. There's 3 of them. Remember, the key one is sine squared x plus cosine squared x equals 1. And then I've shown you how you can derive the other 2 from this one. If you've forgotten, I'll link it in the video here. Make sure you know how to do that. And that's honestly a better way of learning the 3 Pythagorean identities. Then you're not going to ever forget the other 2. As long as you just remember this one, you're going to be good to go. All right, so let's look at example 1. Prove the identities. Which side would you say is messier? I'm thinking the left. So let's start with the left-hand side. And I'm just going to rewrite it the way it is before I get going. So we have cosine x times cosecant x plus tangent x. Now from here, just start simplifying. I would distribute cosine x inside the parentheses. So we have cosine x times cosecant x plus cosine x times tangent x. Okay, what to do from here? General good idea when working with identities is to rewrite everything in terms of sines and cosines, and a lot of the time this will allow things to cancel out, and then you can see how to work with the rest. So I'm going to leave cosine x alone. I'm going to replace cosecant x with 1 over sine x plus, and then this cosine x stays the same. Tangent x I'm going to replace with sine x over cosine x, all right? So here's my tangent, here's my cosecant, and perhaps you notice, I can cancel out this cosine x here in the second term because this cosine is technically over 1, right? So these guys cancel out. All right, so I've got cosine x times 1 over sine x. I can just write that as cosine x over sine x. Plus, now I just have sine x left in the second term. And go ahead, take a peek. What's your goal? The goal is the right-hand side, and we're pretty much there. I just have to replace cosine x over sine x with cotangent x, and I'm done. And then let me indicate we are finished. Voila, this is the right-hand side. Nice. Okay, let's look at another example here. We have example B. We need to prove that 1 plus sine x equals cosine squared x over 1 minus sine x. In this one, it's almost equally challenging to pick the left side first or the right side first. Doesn't matter. I'm going to go with the left side first. Okay, and then you can try the other way if you like it. You're just mirroring the steps in reverse. So we're going to start with 1 plus sine x. And use the other side to kind of inspire you as to what sort of, maneuver to pull next. I'm noticing, there's 1 minus sine x in the denominator. And right now, my denominator is just 1, right? I have 1 plus sine x over 1. So why don't I go ahead, multiply numerator and denominator by 1 minus sine x. And this is something you're going to commonly see because notice in the numerator now I have conjugate pairs. Conjugate pairs are anytime you have two terms and between them is addition, and then between the other same two terms is subtraction. Those are conjugate pairs. And conjugate pairs come up a lot of the time in trig proofs and trig identities because when we multiply them out, we get a difference of squares, a squared minus b squared. And a lot of the time that lets us use a Pythagorean identity. So let's see what's going to happen. In the denominator, I just have that 1 minus sine x times 1. And then in the numerator here, these are conjugate pairs. So I'm going to be left with the difference of two squares, 1 minus sine squared x. Okay, now recall we have the Pythagorean identity, sine squared x plus cosine squared x equals 1. And if I subtract sine squared x from both sides, then I have cosine squared x is equal to 1 minus sine squared x. And so I notice that's exactly what I have sitting in the numerator. So I'm going to go ahead and replace the numerator now with cosine squared x over 1 minus sine x. And look, we're done. That's the right-hand side. Okay, this was all just scratch work. So train your brain to kind of be on the lookout. If you see 1 minus sine squared x, you can replace that with cosine squared x. And then similarly, 1 minus cosine squared x, you can replace with sine squared x. All right, be alert for those. Good, let's move on. Example C. Let's pick a side. I say let's start with the left-hand side. It looks like a hot mess. So left-hand side, let's rewrite it. And then, you can start strategizing as you're rewriting it. We've got sine x plus 1 over cosine x plus cotangent x. And that's all supposed to equal tangent x. Interesting. Well, when in doubt, just start rewriting everything in terms of sines and cosines. So I'm going to have sine x plus 1 over, this is cosine x plus cosine x over sine x. Good. Well, notice right now what I have is a complex fraction. I have a fraction within my fraction. That's not allowed, not simplified. So what we need to do is get rid of the extra denominators. Couple techniques for doing this. My favorite is multiplying through by the LCD. So what is the least common denominator or least common multiple of all of the denominators in this expression? It's just sine x. So I'm going to multiply numerator and denominator both by sine x. So this is allowed because if I multiply the numerator by sine x and the denominator by sine x, I'm just multiplying by 1. Why this is so exciting, you will see in just a second. So I've got sine x plus 1 times sine x in the numerator. And then this sine x down here is going to distribute. Okay, so we've got sine x cosine x plus, and then it cancels with the sine x in the denominator for the second term. So all I have now is cosine x. Ooh, so we're almost there. Look at the denominator. I can factor out a cosine x from both these terms. So I have sine x plus 1 times sine x over cosine x times sine x plus 1. Do you notice something? Why, yes. Sine x plus 1 cancels out. So now all I have is sine x over cosine x, which is This is bothering me. We gotta get rid of it. Okay, and that is tangent of x, the right-hand side. Lovely. Sometimes, don't be intimidated and say, I have no idea how I'm going to get there. I don't always start them knowing step by step what's going to happen. You just have to apply those same techniques, rewrite everything in terms of sine and cosines, simplify, and sometimes it just kind of reveals itself, okay? Last one for this section, short and sweet. 1 plus cosine x over 1 minus cosine x equals cosecant x plus cotangent x quantity squared. Okay, let's just keep doing the left-hand side. We're on a roll. So left-hand side, I've got 1 plus cosine x over 1 minus cosine x. Now, if you remember in example B, we multiplied by the conjugate of the denominator that was in the right-hand side. Do you remember that? Do you remember how we ended up, we just multiplied by whatever was in the denominator so that we would have conjugate pairs in the numerator. Okay, we're going to do something similar. I'm going to multiply by the conjugate of the denominator. So I'm going to multiply by 1 plus cosine x, okay, in the numerator and denominator. Why am I doing that? Well, I know 1 minus cosine x times 1 plus cosine x is going to give me 1 minus cosine squared x. And that's exciting because I can use a Pythagorean identity in just a second. And then here in the numerator, since both have addition in them, both factors, then I'm going to have to FOIL. So we're going to have 1 plus, this is cosine x, plus, here's another cosine x, plus cosine squared x. Okay. Good. So now look here. We already talked about if the denominator is 1 minus cosine squared x, I'm going to go ahead and use my Pythagorean identity, replace it with sine squared x, and then in the numerator, these two, I can combine their like terms. So I'm going to have 1 plus 2 cosine x plus cosine squared x. Okay. Now take a little peek at the right-hand side and notice how everything is in terms of cosecants and cotangents. That means they split up everything and used reciprocal identities since we have sine in the denominator. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to write each term in the numerator over sine squared of x separately. So I have 1 over sine squared x plus 2 cosine x over sine squared x plus cosine squared x over sine squared x. You see what I did? And then let's go ahead and replace 1 over sine squared x with cosecant squared x. Now 2 cosine x sine squared x. Watch this. So think of this as 2 times, I have cosine x over sine x times another 1 over sine x, right? Since I have sine squared x in the denominator. So I can replace that with 2. Cosine x over sine x is cotangent x. And 1 over sine x is cosecant x. Good. That was a little fancy. Plus, last term is cosine squared x over sine squared x. So that's just going to give us cotangent squared x. And then look at the right-hand side. Look at our goal. It's cosecant x plus cotangent x quantity squared. And that's basically what I have here. This is a perfect square trinomial. I just have to factor it. So this is cosecant x plus cotangent x squared. And we're done. That's the right-hand side. If you didn't notice that, then maybe review some of your factoring. And that's a perfect square trinomial pattern that you need to recognize. So when you have a plus b squared, that equals a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So all I did right here at the last step was I factored, since I had it all multiplied out. This line right here matches a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, and then I factored it into a plus b quantity squared right here. Okay, so you have to just kind of be on the lookout when you do these problems for factoring patterns, your Pythagorean identities, etc. Be patient with yourself, okay? It takes experience till you can do these effortlessly. So just kind of take your time and always ask for help if you need it. Okay, stay tuned. We've got more identities coming your way.